I think you touched on this a little bit. Like, so med school dropout. I'm sure your parents were disappointed. All Bengali parents would be. And then from there to working at a restaurant, and then now like pursuing entrepreneurship. What was that journey like? Maybe talk about the early, like that journey as well as like the early days of Lunchbox. Like, where did that idea come?
Yeah, yeah. I actually, I actually had a keynote I had to present to my team
Okay.
uh, recently. I don't know. Maybe I'll pull it up and send you some pictures at the end. But it was hard. It was extremely hard. Uh, to go into a restaurant industry. Like looking back now, life makes perfect and clear sense, right? It all makes sense. But when I was living it, all I knew was I was happy. All I knew was I'm adding value. All I knew there was some kind of a pull, a magnetic pull of like, oh, restaurant industry, restaurants, food, something's happening here, right? That's all that was happening. So I just leaned into it, and then full ride to med school. Syracuse, went to Syracuse, right? Each year it costs like 50K, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a lot of money. How do you walk away from that? Um, but it happened so naturally because um, whenever I'm presented with two tough options, I just pick the tougher one when I'm not sure, right? So when it was time to move away, to stay, I picked a tougher one, which is move away from
Mm.
your parents. And I felt, the guilt you feel when you move away from your
Yeah.
family as an immigrant, and you're like, oh wow, I'm experiencing joy every day. I have my own room. I have this experience. I'm surrounded by all these people. I wish they were lucky enough to experience it. It's like going on a nice vacation. It's going on a nice vacation where your parents will never make it there, and you're like, you feel 95% of the time hopefully you're enjoying that vacation, but 5% of the time you're like look what I'm standing on the shoulder of, right? So it's like enormous guilt there, but there's this calling, and I move towards whatever's harder, and I also move towards whatever is harder because I it just equates to me a higher multiple on return on that investment, right? Just like angel investing, and you're a prolific angel investor, so you know this at all. But if you're trying to do 10% over your growth, decade over decade growth, you can do the S&P 500, or you can bet on some crazy entrepreneurs and have a blast doing it, but kiss your money goodbye. If you
Yeah,
the best
absolutely.
investors do, the best
Yeah.
investors do, right? So similarly, I'm at this, I'm a buzz boy, and every couple of months I'm getting promoted, right? Busboy, then maybe counter guy making milkshakes now. That's a promotion. Make $1 more an hour. That's huge. That's huge. That's
Yeah.
like 10% increase. You're balling now, right? And then you go ahead and get promoted again. A 6 month, you are now lead shift. 6 month again, and now you are intern. You just lost everything again. You're an intern at corporate office. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
Mm.
I was managing that restaurant, and
Yeah.
now I'm bottom of the barrel, and I'm picking up coffee 7 times a day.
Yeah.
That's an intern at a restaurant HQ. You pick up coffee 7 times a day. You're useless. But I was so useful at the restaurants, feeding people. I was meeting people. I was learning how to speak to them. I was
Right.
making it right when the table and the order was wrong, and that was fun. And now you start again, and then you go. Then slowly I worked there in corporate, realizing it's a blessing. Work my way to marketing manager, designer, creative director, then marketing director, and CMO. At 25-ish, I became chief marketing officer. We had 50 restaurants in 5 countries. It was a blast. It was fun,
Amazing.
and it was constantly scary. Uh, and I think that was that job I had, which is I didn't have one, so I created it from the very first day as a busboy. Oh, let me design some of the menus, to the first day as an intern, like I don't know what to do. I'm gonna get fucking fired. Let's just get them coffee so they don't fire me, until they figure out what to do with you, right? And that you also have an employer's point of view, which is hire great people, you'll figure out what to do with them later. But that was my early experience in food, which is one day at a time, one step at a time, and just try to be useful, try to do the things no one wants to do, and try to add value and ask
Value.
people if you can help.
That's right. Add value. I think you said it right. I think whether you're in a corporate environment, startup, at the end of the day, all comes down to adding value. So tell us about like Lunchbox early days. So you had this, cushy corporate gig, CMO, big
Mhm.
shot, right? Like
Big shot.
why leave that? Why leave that and pursue something, that has like very high chance of failure, right? Like could go nowhere. Where did that come from? And then what was the early days like trying to figure out what to do with Lunchbox?
I'll give you a couple of responses. I'll give you and they're all real, but I'll give you
Yeah.
a different level of transparency in each of my responses.
Yeah.
The first one is I wanted to go ahead and fix a problem we had. We were losing millions of dollars every month to Grubhub and third-party companies. And we couldn't build our own tech ecosystem because we were not big enough to be Domino's or Sweetgreen and not small enough to be nobody. We were stuck in the middle and we
Yeah.
had to go ahead and do something, put together. And we did not have the venture back capital like Sweetgreen did, who spent 20 million building their system. So how do we go ahead and fix this? We knew, we kept them sitting around this is what restaurateurs do. At the end of a long 12-hour shift, even working at corporate, you go to one of your nearest restaurant, you grab a drink and you just talk about the day and you take out your stress before you go home. And we kept on saying like, why don't we do it ourselves? Why don't we do it ourselves? Why don't we do it ourselves? And one day we said, fuck it, I think we're just going to do it ourselves.
Mm.
Right. So it became those, round table drinking talk to
Yeah.
reality. But the reality was desperate problem I was trying to solve as in my former role as a
Mm.
marketing officer. So that's the first reason the company was born. I'll give you two more that entrepreneurs are shy to give. The second one was I wanted to be my own boss, right? You can't be entrepreneur without a ton of ego. Ego is not bad. Ego is good. Ego and insecurity, when they are paired perfectly, it is actually a recipe for the only way you can be great. So I have incredible ego that I can make it. I need if I'm in charge. I have incredible insecurity that I am a fuck up and I'm going to fuck this all up at any given moment. So I need to go ahead and constantly ask people for feedback and learn and try to go ahead and integrate their ideas. So I wrestle with that every minute, every hour, every day. But that feeling said, we need to go ahead and start this ourselves, and I would like to lead it, and I would like to put this on my back. So that's the second reason. And the third reason is, where do you go after CMO, right? Like, what's next? What is risky? What is scary again? Um, I can get addicted to drugs or alcohol or watching TV, or I can get addicted to what I'm addicted to, which is working. I love to work. Work is my life. There's no difference between the two. And when it's not scary and adventurous enough, I ask myself, how can we do that? And um, back then it was start Lunchbox, and today it is let's go after a new market, right? Let's go sign a 1,000-unit chain, which we just recently did, by the way. So that's
Congratulations.
yeah. Thank you. So those are the three reasons.